So the article I'm reviewing today is called Latin America's Social Policy Challenge, Education, Social Insurance and Redistribution. So this article starts off by saying that for the last 20, 30 years, Latin America has really come a long way in terms of reducing inequality, reducing poverty, and it's achieved a lot of these objectives through some social programs which have looked at education, social insurance, and then direct measures to reduce inequality via cash transfers. And the article suggests that yes, although GDP growth has been great, it hasn't been as good as some of their Asian counterparts. And this article doesn't have a research question as such, but it's more so an exploration of will Latin America achieve some of the benefits of the GDP growth of some of its counterparts, and what are some of the trade-offs with that. So as I said, it looks at those three main topics, and in terms of the methods that are used here by the authors Levy and Shandy, it's all based on primary research. This is a secondary example of secondary research, and it looks at details from Peru, Brazil, Argentina, other Latin American countries. And the first one it looks at is terms of education or schooling, and it starts off by saying that across a wide range of standardized education outcome measures, that Latin American children are by and large worse off than their Asian counterparts. And the authors point to two main reasons for this. One being that children are often malnutrition. They have poor nutrition, before they even get to schooling age, and also and teachers are not as well educated and don't have the resources as some of the other countries. So therefore, as we know from our studies, that to increase productivity, we need to have an educated workforce, and this is something obviously that Latin America needs to look at. The second one, and for the bulk of this article, it looks at social insurance and some of the insurance policies that have been instigated. So for the last 50 years, there's been an obligatory contributory insurance policy in most countries, whereby workers would contribute via payroll tax to a social insurance program. Again, as we know from our studies, that the implications of a social security system and taxes will generally decrease the supply of labour in the market, as the payroll tax can be passed on to the workers in the form of lower wages, therefore disincentivize workers to work, and therefore we have less income coming in. There's a couple of main issues with the non-contributory insurance policy. So this is the idea that some workers who are not covered by the contributory policy, they don't contribute any payroll tax but still get some benefits. And some of these issues is that it actually reduces the efficacy of the insurance. The idea of the insurance is that people are putting money away, contributing money away so that they have a pension. However, if people know that they're still going to receive a pension in the form of this non-contributory insurance, it actually disincentivizes people to save, which is one of the ideas of this. And that's the second main issue with it, is it reduces people's savings. It also misallocates resources as well, because of people who are in the contributory insurance policy, they are classified as formal labour, okay? Whereas those who are not are classified as informal labour. And recent research is actually showing that those who are in the informal labour market actually exhibit lower productivity levels, which is obviously a concern. The last issue that the authors look at is this idea of cash payment transfers as a way to reduce inequality, which they argue has been effective. But they also look at, well, what are some of the issues with that as well? That, if cash transfers are too large, it actually disincentivizes. I'm struggling with that. It discourages people to actually want to work, which is obviously an issue because it's not going to bring in any tax revenue. And racing through to sort of the conclusions now, it's that if Latin America is to improve, it really needs to focus on education. It needs to needs to address some of the pitfalls of their contributory and non-contributory social insurance policy. It needs to get rid of their over-reliance on cash transfer payments, and it needs to ensure that any of their socially funded programs are funded with a long-term outlook. Lastly, the authors also acknowledge that with social policy, there's obviously a large political component to it, that politicians may promise certain things but not fund them, and acknowledges that this is also an issue that needs to be addressed. Thank you.